So, let's dive in. Today, we're cracking open the operating manual for the world's largest democracy. We're going to explore the incredible machinery that runs a nation of over 1 billion people, and it's all laid out in one single, powerful part of its constitution.
I mean, just think about that for a second. How do you even begin to design a government for a country that vast, that diverse? Where do you write down the actual rules for everyone, from the president all the way down to the courts? It's a massive question, right? But it has a surprisingly clear answer. And here it is, Part 5 of the Indian Constitution. This thing covers almost 100 articles. We're talking Articles 52 all the way to 151. This is not just a chapter in a book. It's the complete architectural blueprint for the central government. It tells you everything: who holds the power, how they can use it, and crucially, how that power is kept in check. So, let's break it down.
All right, first up, you've got the executive. The simplest way to think about this branch, they're the doing arm of the government. Their whole job is to take the laws that are passed and actually put them into action. They're the ones running the day-to-day business of the entire country.
Now, at the very top of the org chart, Article 53 gives us the President of India. Constitutionally speaking, all executive power in the country is officially held by the President. They're the head of state, the supreme commander of the military, the whole deal. But, and this is a really important but, there's another piece to this puzzle.
Because right there in Article 74, the Constitution also creates the Prime Minister and their Council of Ministers, and their job is to aid and advise the President. Now that phrase, aid and advise, it might sound simple, but it is the absolute key to understanding where the real power actually sits.
And this setup creates this fascinating split. On one hand, you have the president, who is the nominal head. They're the symbol of the nation, kind of like a constitutional monarch. But the real executive power, the actual decision-making that happens every single day, that belongs to the prime minister and their council. They're the ones who are truly in charge, and they're the ones who have to answer to parliament. This separation is the heart of India's parliamentary democracy.
Okay, so if the executive is the doing arm, then who decides what they're supposed to be doing? Well, that brings us to the next pillar, the parliament. This is the legislature, this is the deciding arm of the government. Now, according to Article 79, India's parliament isn't just one big building. It's actually a trio. You've got the president plus 2 separate houses. This 2-house setup is called a bicameral legislature, and it's designed on purpose to make sure every law gets looked at from multiple angles. And these 2 houses are very different. First, you've got the Rajya Sabha, the Council of States. As the name suggests, it represents the interests of India's individual states. Then you have the Lok Sabha, the House of the People. Its members are directly elected by the citizens. And here's a crucial point. The Lok Sabha holds the power of the purse. It has the final say on all financial matters. Not a single rupee can be spent without its okay. And this is where you can really see the branches working together. So an idea for a law, called a bill, has to get passed by both houses of parliament. But even then, it's not a law yet. It then has to go to the president, the head of the executive, for a signature. Only when the president gives that final approval, that assent, does a bill officially become an act.
So, we've got the branch that carries out the law and the branch that makes the law. But who makes sure that both of them are actually following the big rule book, the Constitution itself? Well, that leads us to our third pillar, the Union Judiciary.
The judiciary is often called the guardian of the Constitution, and for a very good reason. It's basically the ultimate referee. Its job is to make sure every single action the government takes and every law Parliament passes is in line with the nation's core principles.
And at the very top of this entire judicial system, established by Article 124, is the Supreme Court of India. It is the highest court in the land, period. And its decisions have a ripple effect, binding every single other court across the whole country. And its power is just immense. It can step in and settle arguments between state governments. It's the final court of appeal for any case. It can even give advice to the president on tricky legal questions. But you know, maybe its most incredible power is the ability to do complete justice. This is a unique tool that lets the court issue pretty much any order it thinks is needed to make sure a case has a truly fair and just outcome, even if it means going beyond the strict wording of a law.
Okay, so if you build a machine this complicated, you better build in some safety features, right? Well, the framers of the Constitution thought so too. The final part of this blueprint includes these independent bodies and special powers that act as checks and balances, making sure no single part of the government gets way too powerful.
Take a look at Article 123. This gives the President, part of the executive, the power to make a temporary law called an ordinance if Parliament isn't meeting and there's an emergency. But, and this is a huge but, there's a check. As soon as Parliament is back in session, they have to approve that ordinance. If they don't, it just disappears. So it's a short-term fix, not a blank check to make laws.
And here's another really critical check, this one on the government's wallet. Article 148 creates an office called the Comptroller and Auditor-General, or the CAG. This is a totally independent authority, and their one and only job is to audit every single rupee the government spends.
And that independence is exactly why the CAG is called the watchdog of the public finances. This is so important. The CAG doesn't report to the government it's auditing. No way. It reports directly to Parliament. This makes sure that the people's representatives, and through them the public, know exactly how their money is being used. It's a non-negotiable part of financial accountability.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint. You've got an executive to run the country, a legislator to write the laws, a judiciary to guard the rulebook, and these powerful watchdogs to keep everyone honest. This entire system was put down on paper over 70 years ago. Which leaves us with a pretty big question. How does this intricate dance of power, designed for a brand new nation back then, continue to shape the vibrant, complex, and always changing India we see today?